Black versus Jeskai. Oh, Luis. See, this is one of the things I love about Sealed, though. So this is going to be a weird thing, I'm going to say. As they're going to start off here. There's a forest, I believe a blister plot there for Luis. Luis, we're going to need that creature up front. Thank you.
Yep.
That looks like a cup here for Ben. When your Sealed deck is bad, true or false, you try harder to win.
Definitely try, and you appreciate it.
You try so much harder to win when your deck is bad because you're just like, I just want to gut it out and grind them down and somehow get a W with this horrific deck.
Mortuary Mire there for Scott-Vargas. Could have recurred the blister pod given enough time. Looks like he's going to set that play aside, just get his land into play.
Ben with a nice start here. Pilgrim's Eye, I believe, is going to search up a mountain. There's an ally encampment. He does have some allies in his deck on the Splish Splash.
Yep.
So there we go. There's a Lantern Scout. Little life.
It begins.
Gain a life, thanks. I think Ben is trying not to laugh right now. Ben taking a long look at the Lantern Scout, the 3-2 beatdowns. Now we're going to head back Ben Stark's way. Ben at 19, Luis at 19. Tie game.
Yep. So far, so good.
Ben Stark's taking another look at the Lantern Scout off the ally encampment is Ben. Here they come. It's just a Pilgrim's Eye. A mountain, a Hedron Archive, pass the turn back. Ben's got all his colors of mana. You see 2 plains, a mountain, and an island.
But the window is open for Scott-Vargas to hammer him.
With what, it's unclear, but the window is open. He does have a swamp in hand. That'll be the land that he plays. And just says go. That was not as exciting as I was hoping for.
No, that was the window.
Yeah. It may be closed. There is the Hall of Famer Ben Stark. He's coming in the red zone for 1 in the air. See what the follow-up is here for Ben. 5 mana. An Angelic Captain, I believe, is the card. And a heck of a card it is. 5 mana, 4/3 flyer. When it attacks, it gets +1/+1 till in turn for each other attacking ally.
No allies required for this to be a good deal.
Yep. Scott-Vargas, he has an ally of his own. It's the Core Entangler. Gonna tap down the Cub.
Coast is clear. Lantern, see how it can attack.
Yes, it can.
Good looking attack.
Blister Pod's a freebie here. See, because if it dies, you just get another creature. It's a great attack by Scott-Vargas.
What's interesting here is if Scott-Vargas is making this attack, it probably means that he wants the Eldrazi more than the blister pod.
Sure.
Because he's not really generating any value from this attack. So Stark is probably going to be on the lookout for some very expensive play next turn.
Over to Ben as we go. We will see what's next for him. He'll come in here with the Pilgrim's Eye and the Angelic Captain. Just some flyers coming in. Looks like he's going to use all of his mana this turn. And looks like Sheer Drop with Awaken, making the plays into a 3/3. No more Lantern Scout shenanigans. Going back Scott-Vargas' way. Spawning bed there for Luis. And now it's a Tajuru, I believe, Beastmaster. So a little pump up the jam. And now the beatdowns. Scott-Vargas hanging tough here, actually. All kidding aside. Yeah, we're playing a game of Magic. It's not pretty out there. But it appears to be effective.
It's just a regular nuts and bolts damage race right now.
Now with the Beastmaster, when it enters the battlefield or another ally, your entire team gets +1/+1. It's not as good as the Tajuru Warcaller, the uncommon, that gives +2/+2 for that effect, but it's no slouch. It's actually one that Jerry Thompson likes a lot in the green decks.
Well, it's more functional on its own. Yeah. If you're light on allies, or if you just don't have the capability of producing a huge board, this card's going to be more powerful than Warcaller a percentage of the time.
There's a Plains. Ah, the Tide Caller. Gets to return an Awaken spell. Really good uncommon.
This might be the best combo of cards amongst non-rares. Is Tide Caller plus Sheer Drop.
Yeah. Land creatures you control have flying as well. It's pretty nice. Ben with an outnumber there to take care of the Beast Caller too, as he has 5 creatures in the battlefield. That's a heck of a turn. That's all of his mana. Can't really ask for much more of that.
With Sheer Drop on the leftovers, and now Scott-Vargas is in the spot where if he attacks, he allows Start to cast the Sheer Drop, and if he holds back, well, there's not a lot of blocking that Luis can do on this board. So
yeah.
he's kind of trapped at this point.
Really nice turn there for Ben Stark. .10's a score. That might be tied, but I don't think much else is here. See if Scott-Vargas can kind of find a way to work his way out of this situation.
You are right, though. When you have a deck like this, you are locked in.
Yeah.
You know you have no room to give any points away, any bad blocks. You got to make the most out of what you can.
It's one of my favorite things about Magic. Again, I'm not saying people who have really good decks don't try as hard, because I imagine that they do try very hard. But when you have just a horrible pile or a deck that you don't consider to be up to snuff, you don't have you're not going to get a new set of cards.
Right.
So you got to try as hard as you can, make some unorthodox attacks or blocks, or try to represent something that's not even close to in your deck.
And I think Luis bought his airplane ticket at the last minute, so he's got some skin in the game right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a fertile thicket. Now the thing that's nice is when you're a player of Luis's caliber, people will put you on things that you don't have because they respect your ability.
Mm-hmm.
So they might play around spells because, oh man, you're Luis Scott-Vargas, you might have this card. I don't think that's running through Ben Stark's mind right now, though.
Unfortunately, at some point you do have to cast the cards in your hand.
That's true. You'd have to play that second blister pod.
You have to show it, you know?
But it's the mental part of Magic that is so interesting sometimes. Scott-Vargas' turn here may not be very impressive, but at least he's trying to represent as though he has something, as he's going to tap 5 mana.
And he's already picked up 2 wins in the undefeated bracket.
Yeah. Demon's Grasp there. Going to take care of the Angelic Captain. Luis will just hang back on defense. No real sense in attacking because he knows Ben's got that sheer drop. But Ben is coming into the red zone. We're going to see some blocks here. Can't block the Awakened Land, and that is going to do it. Ben Stark is going to win game number 1 here over Luis Scott-Vargas. His Jeskai deck is quickly up a game over Luis's green-black deck. So we've taken a look at what Scott-Vargas is working with. For Stark, you saw some nice cards there. On the blue side of things, the Halimir Tidecaller is on the splash of his Jeskai deck. He's got a Kozilek Chandler, Oblivion Sower, a card that a lot of people have had this weekend.
Yeah, surprising for a Mythic. We've had it on camera quite a few times.
Felidar Cub, Gideon's Reproach. Ah, Ben with a Plantar Outburst. That's a nice card to have in a deck, especially for someone who's as skilled as him. 2 sheer drops in removal can be returned with that Halimar Tidecaller, as can that Plantar Outburst. It's a Awakened spell. Munda Ambush Leader, Royal Spout, Angelic Captain. Some nice gold cards there.
Yeah, Stark definitely squeezing a lot of the Tidecaller. There's a lot of great ones to get back, some early removal spells, and Plantar Outburst is no joke on the rebuy.
It's got a Turn Against is a great trick. 3 Valakut Invokers, Touch of the Void, Outnumber. Lands here, you got 8 mountains, you got 2 islands, 8 plains, so that's 18 lands. It's a nice one here. Pilgrim's Eye, Hedron Archive. I'd be pretty happy to have this deck.
Yeah, looks solid.
Yeah.
I mean, besides the Plantar Outburst and the Oblivion Sower, no huge bombs. I suppose the Tidecaller counts as well. But a deck you'd be totally happy to open.
Yeah.
Nothing that spectacular, but completely serviceable.
And for Luis, quite the opposite. But again, this is something that I'm actually kind of happy to see happen, because a lot of the time in the feature match area, you just see two great players with 2 great decks kind of battling it out. But on one side, you see a great player here in Ben Stark with an above average to very good deck. And on the other side, you've got a great player in Luis Scott-Vargas with what really looks to just be a bunch of rubbish.
So what I really like about Luis's deck, looking through I was curious, what green cards didn't make the cut?
Sure.
Orin Reef Invoker and Snapping Gnarlet, Snapping Gnarlet, both on the sideline. Those are both totally serviceable, 20-second cards. But Luis knows the way that his deck is going to win is by doing the Blister Pod, sack for value, go wide with pump effects type of shenanigans. A random 2/2 for 2 is not going to do much for his game plan here. So he is playing some objectively weaker cards to try to produce a deck instead of just a collection of cards when he knows raw power-wise he's not going to be able to hang against most of his opponents. So you can appreciate at least he's trying to do the best that he can with what he has.
Give himself his best shot. That's really all you can do. Now, we know he's playing green-black, and taking a look at that deck list, the cards in the other colors don't even appear to be very good.
Well, he's got Core Entanglers, Lantern Scout, and 2 copies of Smite the Monstrous on the splash.
Yep.
Not cards you're going out of your way to play.
And then he's not playing red, and he's not playing blue, and he's got some Goblin War Paints hanging out over there, but nothing too impressive in those colors, I don't believe.
I would imagine that if there was something better going on, we would see that instead of this.
Yeah. There's not a lot to love. So he's in a tough spot. I know you're scanning over that deck list.
There's nothing in red.
Yeah.
Nothing in red. The blue has 2 copies of Tightening Coils, an Oracle of Dust, 1 Sky Spawner. Heartbreaking to have that card to your side for when your deck looks like this. Yeah, I mean, there's other ways you can build this deck, obviously. You can be playing with some of the mediocre normal green cards, but credit to Luis that he's at least trying to cobble together a deck here rather than just play with a bunch of last pick draft cards.
Yeah, this is, Sealed is such an interesting format, right? Because a lot of people just talk about Sealed and they just say, well, it's just kind of on what you open. And, to a certain extent, that's true, but when you get a situation like this that Scott-Vargas is in, again, you're going to try really hard in your games, but also you're just going to get unique in how you build your deck.
Yes.
And how you sideboard and how you do everything. And if you're able to walk out of here at the 7-2, you're happy because you're still live for top, you're still live for day 2, you're still live for pro points and cash and all that stuff. So this day 1 challenge, this mental challenge, when you get past that sealed deck and you got your fingers crossed over something and then you get the total letdown, it's not time to give up. It's just time to try harder. And
if Luis just tried building a deck that was his best 22 cards across 2 colors or 2.5 colors, there's nothing here.
Yep.
There's no real alternative.
You're at the mercy of the packs. And Luis appears to be on the bad side of it, but again, he's 5-0, came in with 3 buys, won his first 2 matches. Got a long way to go. 1 game at a time, 1 match at a time. Maybe the goal here for Luis in the next 4 rounds is let's get a 2-2 split.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that if you went up to Luis and said, would you take a 2-2, 7-2 day and call it? I think he would probably take it.
Yeah.
He's in this deck right now in the 5-0 bracket, so he's going to be playing against quality players with quality decks. He's unlikely to run it in the mirror. is my point.
The double blister pot mirror, we don't think we're going to see that one very much?
Probably not, no.
Well, these players will take a look at their opening hands, and we'll see who will begin things. Again, remember, we're in a sealed format where players do like to draw here. So it looks like Luis Scott-Vargas has chosen to draw. He's got a shambling vent. Stark started off with a plains. He'll play a mountain. Remember, Ben's deck is base white-red with a small splash of blue. He's to the table first with Pilgrim's Eye. That'll let him find the island if he'd like to search that up. And he'll just go with the mountain, so perhaps the island already in hand as we go back to LSV. Fertile Thicket. They're all going to the bottom. Slow start for Luis.
Yep.
A slow start here. Munda, ambush leader here for Ben. His start, not slow. Didn't find an ally, but he will come across for 4. Gideon's Reproach, going to take it down. Yes, sir.
Then Munda was basically the best card that Stark could have played that turn from Scott-Vargas' perspective. Give me some good haste threat that I can kill with Gideon's Reproach.
Another forest here for Scott-Vargas. He'll pass the turn back over to Stark. Stark will come across for 1. And now there's an Angelic Captain. And I think that's a plummet that's going to take that down.
Yeah, Luis with 2 in the sideboard. Pretty good in this matchup.
And now he's got some mana to cast something. What do we have here?
I believe that's Grove Tender Druids.
That's 4 mana, 3/3.
Comes with a buddy.
Yep. Does come with a friend. You pay 1, you get a 1/1 green plant. Just a Heathen Archive there for Ben. He'll be able to cash it in and draw some cards here on the end step if he'd like. There's a land here for Luis. All right.
All right.
Core Entangler, make a buddy, beat down City. Pass the turn back.
I'm guessing this ends with Stark planar outbursting him into next week, but we'll see how it goes.
I got a bad feeling about this. He's going to attack first. He's tapping a lot of mana. Yeah, there's a planar outburst with Awaken. There goes Scott-Vargas' entire board. That mountain is a 4/4.
I will say this: you do try hard. You do lock in when you have a deck like this.
Yep.
You are also incredibly resentful of any powerful card your opponent plays.
Oh yeah,
it feels like cheating.
Oh, tough guy with this rare over there. Huh?
Oh wow, you must be your parents must be really proud.
Smite the Monstrous. Here for Luis. Will take care of the land. A Rune Processor from Ben. Come on, Ben. Just give him a chance. 4 mana. Let's see what Scott-Vargas has now. It's an Eyeless Wanderer. He'll get 2 Eldrazi spawn past the turn back. Stark will draw. An Eyeless Watcher, pardon me. Here comes Rune Processor. Scott-Vargas is going to take this hit. Pass the turn back. I don't think Luis believes that Ben has nothing in his hand, as Ben has stopped playing lands, but he will attack. Stark going to fall down to 13. The follow-up. It's Courier Griffin. Scott-Vargas up to 12. We'll see what comes next here for Stark, as he does just untap. Doesn't cash in the Hedron Archive. Going to draw a card.
Courier Griffin came out of the sideboard, for those of you wondering at home.
Nice. There's a sheer drop. That's going to turn on the planes. The Griffin is on chump blocking duty now. Oh, Doctor.
All right, won a combat.
Yep. Ben going to take a look at Lithomancer's focus. But that planes is down. Rune Processor is going to hit for a bunch.
Luis has got another copy of Smite the Monstrous to draw.
Okay.
So that's something.
There are outs. It's 13-4 in favor of Ben Stark. Scott-Vargas wants to serve in the air with the Griffin. Stark will fall to 11. And now Void Winnower.
Okay. It's a fairly big draw.
Isako Dennis Rodriguez used this to great effect. Ben with an out, and now he's going to use turn against.
Come on.
Turn against to take the Void Winnower? Oh, come on, Ben.
Come on.
Ben Stark going to win this match here over Luis Scott-Vargas. 2-0. The Jeskai deck is going to take care of Luis's green, black, little whites.
You know, and Luis now can enjoy a laugh. In the game, he's locked in, and the Void Winnower gives him a small bit of hope.
Yes.
That maybe this is good enough. Maybe his hand can't handle this thing, but Ben just slow rolling, threaten, and a removal spell. So there it is.
You know what they say, hoisted by your own Bedard. Turn against gets the W for Ben Stark as he now moves on to